Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time we have the Incredibles 2 McDonald's series of figures. All 10 of them. I do have the complete set. So this is kind of an interesting review for me. I don't do a whole lot of McDonald's toy reviews. However, as a kid, I really enjoyed collecting McDonald's toys. They used to do a lot of really good ones from big movies when I was a kid, and I would go from McDonald's to McDonald's looking for them all, and completing sets and stuff. It was my first inkling of collecting as a kid, basically. So when they were doing this Incredibles line, it's the first Disney line from them in so many years. So I was just really excited about it, and I wanted to get the figures. I don't need the figures just for themselves, but it was more for the fun to do it and to kind of that nostalgic feel of doing what I did as a kid and buying the McDonald's toys. So there's a nice little assortment here. You get 10 figures. They all look quite cool. How I'm going to review them is basically doing a ranking, just going to tell you my least favorite to my favorite, and then just kind of a small general thoughts. But overall, this is a nice little line. It's very similar to the type of line that I collected as a kid, and like when the first Incredibles line came out, of course I purchased them all, and I really enjoyed those. So getting these are quite nice. McDonald's doesn't do a whole lot of great toy lines anymore, and when they do, they're very gimmicky. These actually had some action figure qualities to them, which I actually like quite a bit, and it's more of what I liked as a kid. So yeah, so very excited to get this series. As you can see, there's the main core family, but you also get a second Jack and a second Elastigirl on a bike. Then you also get Frozone, the Raccoon, and Edna. So yeah, so let's do my ranking now, starting off with my least favorite. In last place, I'm going to have to go with Frozone. I do like the character in the movie, of course, but figure-wise, I think it's actually quite lackluster. It's just like a little PVC figure attached to like a solid just piece of ice. The ice doesn't have any sculpting up top. It's done in just a light blue, nothing, translucent or icy-like. And then the gimmick is very simple. You just pull back, let go, and he travels. It almost looks like he goes in a circular motion. I don't know if that's like... Yeah, it's kind of neat that he turns, but overall I think just figure-wise there's nothing too special. It's the type of gimmick that's kind of fun, but it doesn't really work when you just displaying these or having them together. He looks like the oddball out, especially since he's incredibly out of scale from the rest. The ninth spot has to go to Elastigirl on her bike, the Elasticycle. This one I'm just not a huge fan of because, first of all, she's inaccurate since she's wearing that helmet, which I almost thought was her hair for a while, but no, that is a helmet, and of course she doesn't wear a helmet in the movie. I do not think that this is based off of concept art or anything. I think this is simply because they don't want to represent a figure, just in a McDonald's line without a helmet riding a motorcycle, so I feel like that was added specifically for that purpose. They did at least add a little Elastigirl symbol on it, but the gimmick is just that her body stretches, which is kind of fun because you can kind of move the motorcycle around them. This is fun for kids to play, but I do think it's lacking a lot when it comes to paint, especially in the motorcycle itself. It's a really solid red, and it's a very obnoxious red too. Wish that it was a little more simple, but overall, it's what you'd expect for this type of item. Viola takes the next place. This is kind of a neat idea for a toy. You get this kind of clear ball that goes around her, and you can roll it, and she'll stay upright, which is fun because she's obviously outweighted. You can open it up and take a look at the figure inside. And as you can see, she looks pretty nice there. I like her hair. It's a little ridiculous, but it's kind of fun, and her big smile. Violet's my favorite family member, so I kind of like this figure probably just because of Violet herself. But it's got a neat kind of fun gimmick. This would also work really nicely in a Jurassic Park toy line. That the same gimmick I think would work really well, or not Jurassic Park, but Jurassic World. Seventh spot goes to this trash can. Oh yeah, this is the Raccoon figure, which is kind of fun. It's just a really standard trash can. You do have a nice symbol for Incredibles in front of it, though, at least. And then when you roll it, the raccoon pops out and he goes away, and then he pops out and goes away. It's kind of an gimmick. I like the raccoon in the movie, and this is my only representation of that raccoon from the movie, so I like it because of that. But overall, it is very simple, but it's kind of a neat and kind of somewhat fun idea. Sixth place goes to Edna. This is I like the design of this one. I like the fact that she's in the chair. I like the pose, and the facial expression is very fun. And of course, Edna is a really fun character that you don't get a ton of normal action figure toys of. But the gimmick of this one is really that she just bounces a little bit. She can extend quite high in this, but when you bounce her, it really is just the bottom that bounces. This actually works really nicely as a car toy. I did when I purchased it. as I was coming home, I put it on the dash, and it was actually kind of fun there. It stayed pretty nicely, it's a good size, and it bounces a little, so it's kind of perfect for that. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot you can do with it, but she's great for display, I must say. Now, I wasn't looking forward to Dash really whatsoever, but when I got the figure, the function of the figure is actually really nice. I kind of like it. My issue with him, though, is that just the figure himself doesn't look great. There's a ton of paint scrapes and scratches on mine, and like the belt that wasn't painted and things like that, which really caused me to dislike the quality of the figure. But the gimmick is actually fun. It's incredibly simple. It just requires you to put your finger here and then just spin it, but it actually spins like really nicely, and it looks like he's running really fast. So I actually really think that this is a very clever, it's a very cheap but really clever gimmick, which makes me kind of like the figure. And next up is the levitating Jack Jack. This is definitely the one that you get the most plastic with, which is nice. Like when I got him, like he was a very chunky, heavy figure, which I definitely liked a lot. But even if you don't use the gimmick, just having him here is really cool. He's very cute. He's very happy, which is nice. My issue with the Jack Jack figures is that their hair is way too small. It should be a lot pointier and taller. I would imagine just for safety issues, they decided to make it that small though. But overall, he does look very cute, and he works really nicely. It's just a little desk toy, kind of like that. But the gimmick is kind of fun. You do have a nice Incredibles logo base with this the piece that comes up and wraps around so that you can plug his hair into the ground there, and then you can magnetize him to the top. So he's not like pegged in at the bottom or anything. And of course, as you can see, he's not really touching the top, but he is floating, you know, and this is kind of the gimmick, and you can spin them around a little bit, and it's fun. This is the most complex gimmick of all of these, I think, and it is kind of neat in that regard, which I do like. Next up is Mr. Incredible himself. He does look quite nice. I like his stance. I like his facial expression. He looks very angry, which is cool. And his gimmick is kind of fun. He's got a little rock there, and you just move his arm up, and then you let go, and he like breaks the rock in half. It's very simple, but it is kind of fun and it works. What makes me like this figure though is that he can be removed from that gimmick, and you can just have him as a regular kind of Mr. Incredible toy, which I think it looks quite nice. And surprisingly, he can stand up even without the base, so I think that is quite cool. I'm giving second place to Elastigirl. This is the one that's further down the series. I think it's like number 7 or 8. But this is just her standard one in her standard Incredibles uniform and not in her black costume. But I like this figure because it's very much what I liked to... It's the type of figure I like to collect as a kid with McDonald's toys, where it's just like a figure herself, and then she does have a slight gimmick, but it's mainly an action figure, so I do kind of like that. She's in a fun kind of, you know, standard McDonald's style pose, which works. She does have arm movement. She has waist movement, and then her gimmick is the same as the other Elastigirl, where she can extend, as you can see, which I think is a fun gimmick. You can have her extend just halfway too if you'd like. You don't have to do the full amount, but it is kind of nice, and it's what I like. It's the type of figure that I like. It's kind of just like an average action figure with a small little dumb gimmick, but it's still fun. You know, this is the type of figure I like to get because I could play around with it like an action figure, and that's the reason I really don't like Frozone, is that he's, you know, like stuff like this. He is just a gimmick. With this one, it's an action figure that has a gimmick, so I kind of prefer that. And my favorite figure from the series has to be the Jack Jack. I think this is the last one. I think this is number 10 actually. So this is my favorite one, just because I like the design of it. I like the fact that he's sitting with his arms down. I like the angry look too. It's very cartoonish, and it really does represent Jack Jack, which I think is nice. Again, wish the hair was longer, but I understand why they didn't. He does have this little like key behind him with the little Incredible symbol on it, which you do wind up. You can wind it up a decent amount. And this is, of course, the angry Jack Jack, so he's about to turn into the monster. So he shakes all around, which is kind of fun, you know, because obviously he does like shake before he busts into the angry monster. So I think it's a very simple gimmick, but again, it's like the Elastigirl. It's kind of like its own toy on its own. It's not just defined by its gimmick. He does look very nice with the Happy Jack Jack though. The Happy Jack Jack is your best value for money, I think. But I think that I just personally like the angry Jack Jack because I feel like his gimmick is more in line with what I'm looking for, and I just like the angry expression in the hands down. I think that looks very cool. Alright, so there's my ranking of the Incredibles McDonald's series. So overall, this was a fun series. You know, again, this is very much like my childhood. Very much enjoyed collecting the McDonald's toys from that from when I was a kid, and I of course collected the ones from the first movie, so very happy to be able to get the second movie ones. And these are very fun. These are very much kind of like the figures that came out when I was a kid from McDonald's. I think they have a little more play feature-ness to them now, but they're still quite close to that, because yeah, there hasn't been a good McDonald's line in a long time. So this was very fun to collect. You know, these aren't like anything that I'm gonna do a whole lot with, but hey, they're fun to get. I enjoy kind of going around to McDonald's looking for these, and was very happy to collect them all. So let me know what you guys think of the figures, what you think of my ranking, how you would rank them, your favorite, your least favorite. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching.